Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya if you're new. And today I am going to be looking at something that I got from Paul Rubens that is very unique actually. And it is coloring pages on watercolor paper. And it's called Satin Rose. So today I'm going to be showing you wet on wet techniques, coloring on watercolor paper. I'm going to be showing you my watercolor book collection, and I'll be showing you how to mix different colors when you have a basic set. So I hope you stay tuned. So it's a bunch of coloring pages that are actually watercolor paper. I've never seen anything like this actually. And I thought it was really interesting and I wanted to try it. So, hold on, let me just move that. The paper looks fantastic. So it's, from what I understand, roses, a bunch of different roses on watercolor paper. So the sketch is very light so that you won't be able to tell that you don't have to cover the lines and stuff. So I like that. And we're going to look at the designs. This is the thickness of the packet. And I am so excited because I actually love watercolor paper and I don't have that very many books with this type of paper. Even though I have like coloring books that are watercolor, for watercolor, I don't know that they're not all this good of a paper. So I'm going to show you later the my collection of coloring books that are for watercolor, but and so I'm really interested in this because I feel like I can do wet on wet, which is a great technique and it creates beautiful effects. I love coloring with watercolor, but usually I don't have good paper, right? Our coloring books are not watercolor papers, so I feel like with watercolor paper you can do so much more. And so, oh, I like this one. I think I'm going to try this for our little demo. And so I just showed you all the designs, and they sent me their watercolors to use on it. And this is my first time with Paul Rubens watercolors. They were going to send me another one, which I originally said no to, but then one of my viewers told me that they really like Paul Rubens watercolors. And I told her, you know what, I should try it also. So they're going to send me a bigger one as well. But it comes in this, looks like a great travel kit. I love that they have their like logo. So it looks like this. This is going to be great to travel with. It's like a basic set. So it comes like this, and you get a little swatch sheet with watercolor paper that you can put in here. So that's actually really good. And you can clean your brush on this, I think. So I am going to take out these papers. I think I'm actually going to save these papers and write down with a Sharpie, because it's very important to have, you know, the color. So let me see here, lemon yellow. Let me write that in here. Lemon yellow. So I'm going to take out all of these and write the names, and then I will come back. Okay, so I took off all the papers, and I am going to tape this in my coloring journal. I always keep these. But I did put the name and the number on the bottom of these, and I started swatching them, and I can tell you they wet really nicely. You don't have to do much to get the pigment out. So I'm going to show you here. I'm just going to take, look how nicely that wets and just comes right on. Beautiful, beautiful paints. And what I like is they're not sticky. I have quite a bit of wonderful paints, but that are sticky, and I don't love the sticky, like thirsty part of it. And these are not sticky at all. So that is a big plus for me. cadmium yellow light. And let's get the lemon yellow. Love the lemon yellow. They're not that different, but I would have maybe preferred a white. I know a lot of watercolorists don't really want white because they use, you know, the white of the paper, but I was trained with acrylic, so I'm just used to like using white and to like make colors. Berlin blue. Wait a minute, what is this? Yeah, that's the Berlin blue. Oh, I love that color. Ooh, that's one of my favorites already. The lemon yellow and the Berlin blue is stunning. This is Oriental green. Your typical like emerald green, bluey green. This is olive. Usually I love olive, so let's see. Yeah, this is a beautiful green. That is a color that I like a lot, the olive. And what is this one? Brown umber, huh? Oh, wait a minute. Do they have all of them here? Actually, I don't think that is brown umber. Wait a minute. Oops. What was it called? Cadmium? No. This one is brown umber. And oh, wait a minute. Where's the... Okay. I'm going to have to see what it is, actually. Oh, Venetian red. Okay, so they don't have a thing here for it. I'll do it on this side. They forgot to add a place for the Venetian red. That's beautiful. Okay, this one is the brown umber. Oops, let me put it in here. These are beautiful paints. Now I see why my viewers were telling me to try it. Some of you were telling me to try the Paul Rubens watercolors, and now I see why. They're they're actually really good quality. So I'm like, wow. Wait a minute. Brown umber? That doesn't feel like... That looks like a black. This is ivory black. Oh, okay, so it's like a warm black. They're calling it brown umber. Interesting. Maybe that's a misprint. So these are the colors that I have to work with this particular set. And let's see. So as with all these like product reviews and stuff, I always try to make a video that is useful to you and that you will learn something about coloring from. So I promise you with every product review, I will show my coloring process, and hopefully you'll learn something other than about the product, but also some added value, hopefully. So today we're going to do wet on wet, which is something I love and I don't get to do very often because with coloring books, we don't work on watercolor paper very often. I promise you I will show you my watercolor book collection in a minute, but I really want to get started here. So actually what I'm going to do is I need to clean my water and I'm going to have two brushes, and you're going to see in a minute why I'm going to work with two brushes. One is going to be for the water and one will be for the paint. So let me get clean water and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to use my brush for the water. Let me just get enough water in here. And I'm going to wet my entire petal like this. Then I'm going to take my brush for the paint and I'm going to take a little bit of this rose. Whoop, see that? I'm only touching the bottom of the petal. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the French blue, put a little bit in there as well. So let's start with that. Let's do this petal. And this is called Wet on Wet. And it's magic. And I don't really get to do it, like I said, as much as I want, because we don't have this kind of paper in our coloring books. That's why it's so fun. These are really fun. And oh my God, isn't that fun? Look at that. See, I'm just touching here the bottom. And I will take a little bit, like I said, in this where the shadow is, and just add a little bit from the blue. Oh my gosh, I love watercolor paper and watercolors. I love watercolors. I mean, I have a collection of them because I love them. So we're gonna do again. Oh my gosh, isn't that so fun? Look at that. And you notice I'm doing it at the base of like the petal, so that the highlight where there's less paint will be where the highlight is. So here is the shadow. I'm going to put a little bit of the blue. Whoa, that took a life of its own. Add a little bit more red. Okay, so I'm going to speed it up from here. So you could see that with my first brush that's just doing the water, I'm laying down the water on the entire petal, and then, like I said, I'm just adding the red and the blue to where the shadow is, where normally I would put my darkest pencils. That's where I'm touching my brush to the water, and then it's spreading to it's creating its own gradient, basically. So I hope you could see that there. I'm going to try to magnify it a little bit for you. And then, of course, I will probably go on top with pencil. I love going on top with pencil because it just adds that extra bit that you need. But look how easy and fun it is to do the wet on wet. Now, I want you to know that in between petals, I did have to let it dry. Otherwise, the petals would run into each other. So I let them dry in between and worked on another page, which you'll see in a minute, because I did add a lot of water. So I tried to do petals that were not touching each other, let them dry, and then do the rest of the petals. And you're going to kind of see it just come together slowly. It's a lot of fun, honestly. It makes me want to do more of like my own watercolor art on watercolor paper, which I am kind of getting into my own art, which I will talk about maybe in another video. So this is how it came out, and I think it looks awesome. Now, of course, you can go in with pencil and deepen, the shadows. And I probably will do that. Wherever there's like a shadow, I'm going to just deepen that up, and it's going to make the rose look even better. But I wanted to show you how it looks like just with the watercolors. So now I picked up a different page, and I'm starting on the background. So I'm just adding water to the entire background. I mean, not the entire, I'm doing one section at a time, as you can see. And then I'm adding like the dark part where really close to the illustration itself. So the darkest part is close to the rose, and then it fades out and becomes lighter towards the outside, and that's just how the wet on wet works. So wherever you touch your brush to the water, that's where the darkest part will be. So I'm just creating a background at this point. I'm using blues, purples, and I'm using a little bit of that like browny, blacky color. Like it's like a very, very dark brown, or like a black brown, I would call it. And just to add some interest so that's not all the same color. Then I let that dry completely, and that's when I started on the yellow part of the rose. So, by the way, please excuse the state of my nails. It's horrendous, I know, I apologize, but it is what it is, and I'm growing it out. I decided to get rid of my fake nails and go back to my original nails for a while and give them a break, so I apologize for that. But now I'm working on the rose itself. I decided to make it yellow because I think it's fun to make a yellow rose. And I didn't know what those center roses, it felt like completely different flowers on top of the yellow rose. So I decided, I'm like, should I make them a different color? Should I make them yellow? I didn't know what to do. You'll see what I did later and tell me if it's a bad idea or a good idea. Oh, there it is. So you can see that I decided to make them pink. So this is where I am so far with this one, and it looked like there was roses on top of like a big rose, like 2 other roses. So I don't know if I did that right. I asked my daughter and she was like, no, that looks weird, Mom. So whatever, but you can kind of see how it looks with a yellow rose. I love it. And I'm going to go in and add shading actually to make it look even better. But I wanted you to see kind of just the basing with the watercolor. Okay, so now we're going to get into a really fun part, and that is mixing different colors, because these colors are more of like a basic set, and these are not colors that I use. You guys know that I don't like primary colors. I like secondary colors. So I am going to show you just with this how many colors I can mix in a very short period of time. Obviously, there's more that you can mix than what I showed. But I just kind of want to show you the colors that I personally am more drawn to, that I would paint with more. So I hope you enjoy that. Now, it's not going to be, you know, a full explanation because it's a short video. But if you want me to do a separate video on like color mixing, I can do that. But I just want to show you what's possible with this set. So let's get into that. So I'm going to start out with one of my favorites, which is maroon, burgundy, maroon. Then I have the indigo. Indigo is like a purpley blue. Maroon is like a dark red. Then my favorites are the light greens, which are greens that have yellow in them. So it's mostly yellow with a little bit of green. Then you have a light orange, which is mostly yellow with a little bit of red. And then I'm doing like a reddish brown, another orange, a regular green, like a sap green or hooker's green, and just a bunch of different colors there. I'm just playing around basically, and I hope that helps you kind of see. I love that indigo, that dark blue. I hope that kind of helps you see how many colors you can mix just with a small set, and play around with it, and just have fun. You know, that's what I'm doing right here. So hope you like that little clip. Okay, so while that's drying a little bit, I want it to dry so that I can do the other petals. And this one is drying too, letting that dry. Isn't that gorgeous? So while that's drying, I want to show you my collection of watercolor books, since we're on the subject. And so the first one is Woodland Watercolor. And let me actually, you know what, I'll take it and I'll take this out. Woodland Watercolor, and by Claire Therese Gray. And yeah, this paper is good, but I don't know. I need to try more. I keep wanting to come back to this and I just don't. That's the page that I did, but this is pretty good paper actually. I also have The Search for the Light Bulb Burglar. This is an old book, and I actually do love coloring in here, and I recently got it. It's out of print, so it's really hard to get, but this one has great paper. I don't know if it's watercolor paper per se, but you can use watercolors on it very nicely. So I'm calling it a watercolor book. And by the same publisher and the same illustrator, David Haben, The Explorer's Journey. This is also an old book out of print. And I don't know if I showed this in a completed page. Can't remember. I think I did. But yeah. Then this one, also an older book. This is one of the first books that I got a long time ago. By Jane Gideon, Rainforest Escape. And this is supposedly for watercolor, but it's not exactly watercolor paper. But you can still get really nice effects with the watercolor. So it is a watercolor book. You can see it has texture. Yeah, I guess it is watercolor paper, but it's not your typical watercolor paper. I don't know how to explain. Yeah, it's not artist quality watercolor paper. You know, like the Paul Rubens, that paper is better than this paper. Yeah. So that's Rainforest Escape. Then I have The Imaginary Forest of Jane F. Hankins. And this is, it's not watercolor paper, but it's a really nice thick paper that you could use watercolors on it. So I have a whip in here. I don't want to show it because I want to show it in my completed pages, but you know what? Never mind. I'll just show it. Not done with that. I need to finish the fairies, and I just didn't finish it in the autumn, so I really want to. So that is that. And then I have 2 Painterly Days. Actually, I have 3. I need to find the other one. The other one is a winter. I got these both used. And it's Christy Rice Painterly Days. This one is flower and this one is woodland. And she has a YouTube channel. She's a watercolor artist. And so this paper is pretty close to watercolor paper, I would say. Again, it's not exactly watercolor paper, I feel like, but it's similar. So this is a whip that I'm working on for like fall leaves, but I didn't finish it. Do I have anything in here? Oh yeah, this is a whip. I love how that one's coming out with the pomegranates. You could see I have a lot of whips. So I have one more watercolor book. So that is all I have for you in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the warping. I thought I would show you where I added a lot of water. Let me go back a little bit. Where I added a lot of water. This one warped a little bit more, you could see. But it's still like fantastic. It took I added so much water to this and it took it like a champ. I added a lot of water here. This one barely warped at all. It's really good watercolor paper. I love it. So anyway, that is all I have for you in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it and enjoyed taking a look at this product. As always, thank you so much for your support and all your wonderful comments. I appreciate you so much. I will leave the links to all these products below, and if they give me a coupon code Paul Rubens, I will put that as well. Have a wonderful week and month of coloring, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everyone.